delighted that you are here with us. Thank you for getting up and starting your day. Jordan Rogers is back. Sam finishing up a terrific week. And, oh, this is going to be good. Rex Ryan.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. All Rex wants to know is, when do I get to talk about Daniel Jones? He's been asking me that.
Oh, that's my guy.
Since 6 o'clock this morning. But we will begin with a very quick run the hurry up. 5 games last night. One big takeaway. Rex, what was yours?
The Baltimore Ravens will never lose a preseason game. If you're counting at home, that's 15 straight wins in the preseason. Why? Because they play their offense and their defense. They don't make any apologies. They just line up and kick your tail.
All right, we have Lamar Jackson highlights, meanwhile, coming your way in a moment. Jordan, one big takeaway last night.
Sam Darnold is an absolute stud. He was straight dealing. He's a star in the making. I saw everything I needed to, from pocket movement to accuracy to poise. I'm telling you, he looked as good as anybody.
I would like those 20 seconds to be my new ringtone. Sam Ponder, one big takeaway.
All right, guys, last week after the first game for the Cardinals, I was really excited. I feel equally as concerned this week after seeing that offense last night. I said yesterday I wanted to see Kyler Murray under pressure in the NFL. We saw it last night, and it did not go well. They looked pretty lost. I mean, they had issues across the board. I'm getting a little nervous.
Full highlight coming your way in a moment. Meanwhile, my big takeaway was not about Sam Darnold from the Jet game last night, but the defense. They had to get Matt Ryan out of there, Rex, or the Jets were going to hurt him. The Jets are getting pressure on the quarterback, and they're doing it just by rushing their front four, and they're playing without one of their better defensive linemen in Leonard Williams. So far, 2 preseason games, the Jet defense looks very good. Okay, those are our takeaways. Now let's get to the action. Let's start with the number 1 pick, and this is Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Second preseason game, nowhere near as efficient or effective as the first. Jordan, take a look here as Murray is trying to keep it, and they're forcing him to the sideline.
Well, they keep saying that we haven't really shown our offense yet, but that's a little glimpse of what it's going to be. Zone reading. He's going to be running around.
And Rex, they are blitzing him last night, and he did not look like he liked it.
No, they don't like it. You better have more than one protection. You know, this air raid or whatever is going to be like you're going to get the quarterback smoked.
This is 2 plays later, and that is not an accurate throw there from Kyler Murray. Now, here's a big storyline coming out of last night. Going to talk about it in a minute. They're going to call false starts, not once but twice, on Kyler Murray for clapping his hands in that way. You see it right there. That's the first false start of the game because of the snap clap. And in the second drive, he would be called for it again. Flagged for clapping his hands too demonstratively. You will see Cliff Kingsbury here talking to the officials, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. These conversations began before the game began. Rex will explain what it all means coming up in just a moment. In the meantime, I want to show you this. This is Murray's final drive of the game, and down he goes in his end zone for a safety. Lamarcus Joyner with the tackle, and then afterwards, listen to Lamarcus Joyner with our Lisa Salters on the sidelines.
Well, it's pretty boy football. It don't allow the defense to play physical like the game was meant to be. So, you know, when you go against offense like that, you have to introduce that physicality to them because they don't want to do that.
And so you make it your mission to do what?
Run that kind of offense out of the NFL.
Oh, those are, look at the smile on the face of Rex.
I absolutely love it.
He loves it. Come on out off camera. Just show me the face of Rex Ryan right now, because there is not a happier man in America.
It's true. Greeny, basketball on grass. It's so boring watching all this stuff right there. I mean, come on, college football. I hope it gets smoked also. I really do, because I think it's so boring, you know. And
boring.
It is. It is boring.
Man,
you got one protection. Get the ball out quick.
Jordan.
Do all this kind of stuff. Look, I mean, we're going to see. Hey, Kingsbury says, wait till week 1. Oh, I can't wait to see week 1.
Why? What will week 1 look like that'll be different from last night?
Nothing. They're going to get whipped week 1.
That's the problem.
Look, this guy, everybody talks about this great offense and all that. Yeah, if it's fantasy football and you want points and you know, hey, yardage, that's great. How about wins? All right, Kingsbury, let's face it, had the best player in our league. He was 13-16 with Pat Mahomes at quarterback.
In college.
How about you worry about wins?
Yeah.
And, you know, so that's what I'm seeing.
Go back to the one protection piece of this, because that's what you were talking about in our meeting this morning. They're blitzing, they're playing different defenses, and he basically is in one protection offensive.
Right, and that's why that open edge pressure, you're going to see it all day long. And teams are going to keep doing it. Their answer is the quick little hitch, screen, or slant, and all that. Well, guess what? The routes, the DBs are going to know that. They're going to be sitting on these guys. They're going to challenge them, get in the face of these receivers, and they're in for a long season, and they better get that running game going, or they're going to get run out of town.
When I was saying, I want to get your thoughts on this in a minute, but first, we need to explain for the audience who may not have seen it, this business with the clapping of the hands, Jordan. This was a very big story coming out of last night. 2 false starts for this. Now, we see quarterbacks clapping their hands all the time back there. What made this a penalty?
Well, it's a rule, plain and simple. I mean, that's the rule. You can't do that. In my quarterback mind, I'm like, how's that different than Peyton Manning getting in, snapping, doing this, from the gun? But it's a rule. So it's something you have to communicate. A rookie head coach has got to know that. His rookie quarterback has got to know as well. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't think it was too demonstrative at all, but...
Yeah, that's not the rule, though. The rule, to me, the way I saw it, was that it can't be abrupt.
And that's, I think it was literally it's the clap action.
Maybe we need to zoom in, but that's a little...
Completely. I think it's ticky-tack, but it literally is because he's doing this. It's the clap. It's if he's doing this, it's not. If you know what I mean? It's...
Well, they called it twice.
The league clearly sent a message. We don't want to see this garbage. Like all this stuff. That's it. Like, come on. Let's get rid of it right now. And don't give me all this stuff. Like, you're right. Those two are great examples. Sam, I totally agree with you. He was doing this. They don't care. They were going to throw those flags because we've seen the guy go like this. We've seen it. And it's been a rule for 100 years, in this league. So, to me, they sent a message, say, listen, we don't need all this grade school stuff.
Well, listen, I've been watching football a long time. I've seen quarterbacks clap their hands back there, particularly if the play clock is running down and they're clapping saying, get me the snap back here. So obviously there's something different about this. Drew Brees had an issue with this at one point as well. Mm-hmm. They believe that it is an attempt to draw the defense offside, and that's essentially what they're called.
Exactly, Greeny. I mean, because they're doing it. It's not just like in a natural rhythm, which he did the rest of the game. It's when they're trying to hard count.
But then, so how do you hard count the gun? Because you're allowed to do it from under center. You can head bob. You can hot. You can get loud and demonstrative.
Right.
And he's always going to be in the gun.
We're going to have to get an explanation for this at some point, and we'll see if it winds up being a problem. Meanwhile, Sam Ponder, for those of you who don't know, she's from Phoenix. She's a Cardinals fan. Give me your takeaway from last night and your level of concern.
Look, it's hard because at the end of the day, we all know it's preseason, okay? So every time we overreact either way. When he played great in week 1, we were all super excited. Everything's great. Then week 2, he struggles a little bit. The biggest concern to me is between the ears. And Jordan, we've talked about this. I'm not concerned about Kyler Murray. This is a confident dude. I don't think this is the same situation they had last year with Josh Rosen, because I think that rattled him early. I don't think that's going to be the case.
All right, let me give you the numbers here. The Cardinals' final tally last night with Kyler Murray at quarterback, 15 plays, negative 13 yards. He threw for just 12 yards on 8 attempts after racking up 44 passing yards on 7 attempts in his 1 series in the preseason opener. So tough night for him. Let's move it forward. Let's talk about Sam Darnold. I'm renaming my children after him, and the opening drive last night was the reason why. This is just good stuff. Jordan, just tell me what you're seeing here. This is a dime to a known one.
I love the subtlety of movement, getting his feet set. This is something he hasn't done and didn't do last year. He couldn't complete balls in tight coverage. That was the first completion. Now the second completion, step it up in the pocket, come into balance, throwing a back shoulder on a dime.
To Robbie Anderson there. You take another look at it. You see the zip in the arm. We don't see a lot of in this highlight. He's moving very nicely in the pocket, just enough to buy himself time. This is a 3rd and short in the red zone. That's a first down completion to Robbie Anderson, who took a big hit. The defender was actually injured on the play. And then they wind up scoring on this handoff to Montgomery, who's been very good in the 2 preseason games. We still haven't seen Le'Veon Bell. In all, Darnold, 5 of 7, 46 yards in 3 series. And the Jets wind up winning last night. Darnold completing 2 passes on his first drive that were 15 or more yards downfield and into a tight window, which means less than a yard of separation. He was just 4 of 32 all last year on throws like that. So at least so far, so good. Rex Ryan, your thoughts on what we saw last night on Sam Darnold?
I'm seeing a guy that has improved his game by leaps and bounds. That's why they brought in Adam Gase to really work with this guy, mentor this quarterback. And you see it fundamentally. Jordan already talked about it. I mean, you see the way the subtle movements in the pocket, his poise when the rush is coming, and still making those throws in the tight windows. So if you're a Jet fan, which I am, obviously you can't be more happy and more excited about his performance.
4 throws like this all year last year, and he had 2 in his first 2 attempts last night. His fundamentals, what we're talking about, is in college, he dropped that ball really low, which as a quarterback can throw off your timing of your mechanics and makes you less accurate downfield. He's tightened up those mechanics. He has less of a dip in his throwing motion. He's more secure in the pocket with that. So I love what he's done in this offseason, getting better.
Greeny, I got a question for you here,
Yes.
because I've seen the excitement every morning this week. I have seen the excitement about these Jets.
Yeah.
Realistically, though, what are you thinking for this season? What is the ceiling for this team? How excited can you get?
I mean, I'm not going to get crazy here. I think 15-1 is not off the table.
Seems reasonable.
Listen, I mean, in the AFC East for a generation, you're playing for second. And Rex, you know it, having coached both the Jets and the Bills. Everyone in the world is chasing New England, and they probably won't catch them. But I do think the Jets are vastly improved. They have a good defense. They got a bunch of good players on that defense. Major questions at corner. And Rex, no one knows better than you how damaging that can be to a defense. We'll see if they can overcome that. But they get pressure. They got a bunch of good players up the middle of the defense. And most importantly, this is the best quarterback, at least to this point, that the Jets have had in my lifetime. And Jordan, I know you have some tape you want to show here of some of the things you saw from Darnold that you liked.
Darnold last night was very Tom Brady-esque in the pocket. And what I mean by that is that you don't have to be an athlete, right, to move and create separation in space. So sometimes when he was stepping up in the pocket, instead of continuing to step up, he pauses, gathers himself, come to balance, and that's why he's more accurate. You're going to see here, the pocket starts to collapse on him and push him backwards. He sees man-to-man coverage. The linebacker moves with the motion, so he knows it's man-to-man. But right here, he checks the safety to make sure that let's double-check it's man-to-man. Where am I going with the ball? But then the pocket starts to collapse on him. You're going to see here, watch his feet. His feet get perpendicular to the sideline there, and then at the last second, he readjusts to get his base and his balance back, and that's why he was accurate. That's why he wasn't last year, and these are the things that he's doing this year. And again, watch this. Steps up in the pocket, but instead of stepping up 2 or 3 hitches and running into a problem, he stops after 1 hitch, gathers himself, ready to throw, he's balanced, and he's accurate. Base equals balance, balance equals accuracy for a quarterback.
Yeah, and pro coaching makes a difference, and he's taken to it. And that's the thing you're seeing. This is from year 1 to year 2. These are the strides you hope your quarterback makes.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's doing it, I can't be more excited about this.
Look,
I think they are going to challenge the Patriots.
Oh, hey now,
He doesn't
early
even know
prediction.
Arsenal yet. Bell hasn't even been out there yet.
We haven't seen Le'Veon Bell yet. We'll see. Again, there are question marks across the roster. This is a team that was 4-12 a year ago, so let's not get crazy. But so far, so good for their year.
Are you talking to yourself here?
Well,
That's
if I'm
not
more
crazy.
excited, I would go 15-1. All right, we also had another rookie quarterback on the field last night, Sam.
Yes, so after the first week of the preseason, people really excited about Kyler Murray, really excited about Daniel Jones, question marks about Haskins. But right here, under pressure, guys, look at this throw.
Come on,
That's
Rex.
an NFL throw
Oh, my
right
goodness,
there.
I love it.
Yes, he's got an arm
love
on him,
it.
Rex Ryan.
Crown him. Crown him.
Now he's done. No, that's all he had to do. All right, another look right here. I mean,
I love this because he's got pressure in his face. So as a quarterback, you start to speed up your thought process. But he notices that the safety and the receiver are even. And what do we know as quarterbacks? If you're even, you're leaving. He anticipated, he let the ball go, and more importantly, he trusted what he saw, which he didn't do last week with those interceptions.
yeah, I got Jay Gruden excited there. He would struggle later, though, in the shotgun, holding on a little too long. All right, let's go to the third quarter. This is going to be an overthrow, and guys, this happens to every NFL quarterback. Is this something you're concerned about, Rex, with him, though?
Well, no, not as much with any type of his, throwing mechanics. What I'm worried about is him, this spot right here. You've got to step up in the pocket, avoid it, put the ball on your front shoulder when you step up in the pocket. He doesn't do that. Never did it in college either. So to me, I'm a little concerned with this young man.
Yeah, Haskins finished 7 for 14, 114 yards and a touchdown. Here he is.
I just play. I'm not really conscious of making the same mistake twice in the moment. I mean, before the game, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to throw 2 picks again. So, I mean, that's what I thought, and I didn't, so I was good. I think I was just a little bit more settled down this week than I was last week. I felt like I was more in my element today.
Dwayne shows flashes. There's a couple balls that he probably rushed a little bit. I think he missed a couple shots. He rushed a little bit, didn't put enough air on there, but this is all a process for him. It's fun to watch him right now. He's just a work in progress. He's going to continue to get better and better.
When I heard him right there, Rex, say that he shows flashes, it reminded me of you and Louis Riddick last year saying flashes get a guy fired. So that always makes me a little bit nervous. He looks like a work in progress, but you got to say, I mean, those chunk yardage throws he's been great at. 9th at yards per attempt, as you can see right there. So, Rex, let's talk about him. I mean, what did you see in that game that makes you think maybe he can be a starting quarterback? First game.
Well, we all know he's got the arm talent, number one. And he's got that big body, all that kind of stuff. He's supposed to be a really smart young man. So those are the real positives. Look, I was with this team for a couple of days. And quite honestly, I really like this team. And I think this kid's got a lot of ability. But he couldn't find black beauty in a field of white mice. So to me, that's a concern. We saw him throw.
That
look,
is
not
a
just
concern.
him. That offense threw 7 interceptions the first day of practice, 5 the second day. But I will say this. I think it was more like I love their defense. Trust me, I love the Redskin defense. I think this team's going to be good. I think this guy's going to get better the more you play him. He needs to play. And I think that's why, to me, I'm thinking, you know, hey, we got to play this guy from jump.
Yeah, and these interceptions you saw last week, his eyes just weren't going the right spot. He is not understanding the coverage. Throwing over here, overthrew that into the wrong coverage. Previously plunked the linebacker in man coverage. Just wasn't seeing it right. What we saw last night, some overthrows, some physical mistakes. I'm actually okay with the physical mistakes as long as the ball right now is going to the right receiver. If he's seeing it right, we know he can complete a ball 45 yards downfield on the sideline. I want to make sure it's going to the right spot, and last night it was.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing what you're saying correctly. If it was your decision, you would start him week 1.
Yeah, I would, absolutely. And Jay talked about, you know, the flashes and all that kind of stuff. Look, I think there's so many positives about this guy, but I don't think he's going to get there until you play him. Like these next 2 weeks, I'm playing the heck out of this kid, see exactly what I have. But I'm encouraged with some of the things I see, but I also realize it is a work in progress.
He's already played a lot more snaps than any of the other rookie quarterbacks through the beginning of this preseason. Let me get up and go here. I got a million places I want to take you. We start with the Packers. They sat Aaron Rodgers last minute last night with back tightness. Is that a big deal to you, Rex Ryan?
No, back tightness because they saw the Ravens play defense. Why would you get your quarterback hit?
No,
Baltimore's not going to run scout team for you. They're going to run their defense. Your quarterback's going to get hit. So why would you get rid of the best player in the league? That's an extremely good point. You mentioned the Ravens have won 15 straight preseason games. Get up and go to baseball. Late drama in Philly. How about Bryce Harper last night? A walk-off grand slam wearing those old classic unis. Bottom of 9 off Derek Holland, capping a 6-run rally. The Phils come from behind to win at 7-5 and sweep the Cubs in 3 games. Harper's 7 home runs and 15 RBIs in his last 12. The celebration was wild at the plate. Now, it's been a down season overall for Bryce Harper, but he has been one of the best clutch hitters in the sport. He has a win probability added of 4.8. That is 4th best among all hitters this season. And that is a stat that takes into account things like the score, the inning, the outs, and the base runners. This was awful yesterday from the NBA. I'm sure by now you've seen it. That's DeMarcus Cousins tearing his ACL in his left knee in a pickup game in Vegas. His availability for all of next year is in jeopardy. He got hurt working out. Reaction to the news pouring in from around the sport yesterday.
Obviously, to have this injury, I'm really at a loss for words about it. It's one that really hurt me for sure.
He's been through hell the last couple of years. Between the Achilles and the playoff injury with his quad and now the ACL. Nobody should have to deal with that in such a short period of time. So we're all thinking about him. Everybody in the gym was talking about it today. Definitely, hoping for the best for DeMarcus, but we're all just demoralized for him.
It breaks my heart, man. DeMarcus is such a good guy. He's one of the best bigs I've ever played against, ever. He's amazing, and to see somebody like that get hurt and fight to come back, get in shape, lose weight, do all this stuff, and then get hurt again, man, it's heartbreaking, honestly.
Devastating injury history for a guy in DeMarcus Cousins who was at one point on the verge of a $200 million contract. And now, with all of these injuries, with the Achilles and now the ACL, one wonders exactly where his career is as we speak. All right, a remarkable story yesterday, incredibly frightening pictures that had a remarkably happy ending. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his family were involved in a very frightening plane crash after their small plane rolled off the end of a runway and caught fire after landing at an East Tennessee airport. You see the smoke and all of that there. I can tell you right off the bat that no one was seriously injured. Everyone on board, which included Earnhardt, his wife Amy, their 15-month-old daughter, and 2 pilots, escaped serious injury, suffering only cuts and abrasions. His manager tells our Marty Smith the family headed back to their home by car. The National Transportation Safety Board is investigating the crash. We will be having much more in just a moment here on Get Up. Antonio Brown in uniform for the Raiders last night, how his presence will impact Derek Carr and the Raiders' future. That's on the way next. And another eye-opening play for Lamar Jackson, but we'll explain why his highlight reel runs may hurt his team this season. All that and more. We're just getting started. Get Up on ESPN.